I think this is better.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Naoto. I'm here today to show you some traditional Japanese knife skills, showing how to cut daikon, cucumbers, and some shiso leaves right here from my garden, and some konjac, or some people call it konjac. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to cut the salmon, sashimi grade, making very nice carpaccio at the end. So in Japan, we cut daikons and radishes in juliennes or dices like you see in every Western kitchen. Today I'm going to show you something slightly different that you probably wouldn't do in your regular kitchen. Traditionally, I will hold my knife like most European chefs, pinching up the balance point, rub other fingers around. One thing that you will notice that may be slightly different is that stance that I'm standing. Traditionally, Japanese people use knife using this push forward motion and not so much rocking. So when you're making very fine juliennes, instead of doing this rock cut, people do push forward cut more. That's one of the reasons why lots of Japanese knives have a lot more flatter section on the knife. There are several ways to cut the daikon. One is really simple. Cut it into bigger, say, chunk like this. There's a thicker peel on the outside, so I'm just gonna peel little. A lot of Japanese people, I mean, traditionally Japanese household, they don't use the peelers. So first cut is like a roll cut in the Western world. What I would do is have the one big chunk of daikon, cut it into either half or quarter. Then this part, it's called Rangiri. Ran is random, so you cut into those bigger chunks like these. Each one has different shapes, but roughly the same sizes. You could cut it in half, then do so-called Rangiri, like this. Very popular cut with the daikon is so-called Hangetsu, which is really the slices, but Hangetsu meaning Hangetsu or the Icho. Hangetsu means crescent moon. Icho means this little leaf. So people cut like this way for miso soups and all sorts of stuff. Rangiri is great for stews that you cook a little bit longer. So icho or ginkgo leaves or hangetsu as a crescent moon, these cuts are great for like very quick simmer like a miso soup and other type of soups. I'm going to show you this very traditional technique called Katsuramuki. Idea of Katsuramuki is to peel the daikon in this rotationally. So what happens is that you have the same fiber direction for all the cuts. As well, this is one of the techniques that they can actually cut or peel the finest. First, I'm gonna cut daikon into more manageable size piece, probably about this, like 7 to 10 centimeters, probably 2-3 inches. The best knife to do the Katsuramuki is actually Usuba. Usuba is this traditional single bevel vegetable knife. It's pretty flat. How you want to hold it is hold the Usuba like this. So the idea is to move the knife up and down while you are moving the daikon this way. Okay? So this is where it actually starts. Again, put the finger right here, put the edge right here, and make sure you just, so my right hand is just doing up and down motion. And do it very slow. I'm very slow. Some professionals can do it very, very fast. As you can see, I'm not as good. I'm getting at the really top part really nice and thin, but the bottom part is very thick in comparison. Really the key is do it slow, do a lot so that you get actually really good at it. The reason why a lot of people do this cut, and especially the Japanese professional, is that by doing this, all the fiber goes on the one end. When they actually cut it from here, they do a cut called ken. Ken is really, really fine julienne. So when you're doing this cut, make sure you tuck your fingers all in and use as my first, I guess, the joint as a guide, and more push. You think more push forward motion than downward motion, and gently moves your knuckle to the back so that you get the very fine cut. This popular cut for daikon, right? You know, when you go to the Japanese restaurant, you have this fine piece right next to your sashimi, like this. Ta-da! Alrighty, next is cucumber. We have this very big English cucumbers. Japanese cucumbers are probably 1/3 of the size or the thickness. Cucumber is really popular vegetables in summer in Japan. You may see actually growing in the gardens and stuff. We use them for various different ways, but commonly we use for vinaigrette. When you use this for a vinaigrette, there are several ways that you can cut. One is super, super paper thin, but the other popular one is called the Jabara cut. Jabara means the belly of a snake. I'll show you how to do the Jabara cut. Pretty easy, and see how it applies to your cooking. I'll use the Santoku for this Jabara cut because some of the Usubas are tiny bit thicker at the spine, so it makes it a little bit easier for this type of cut. So what they will do is to cut the cucumber enough, but not all the way through. About 2/3 of the way. Each cuts are around a millimeter from each other. Then spin this 180 degrees. Then you do the same cut. Make sure your right finger or the other hand that's not holding the knife is guiding your knife. So now I cut it from both ends. That is the Jabara or the snake. So oftentimes people will cut like this way, then cut it into the bite-sized pieces like this and put that into your vinaigrette so that it absorbs the flavor more. Konjac. Japanese people call this konjac. Some English-speaking world they call it konjac. I think it's because how it spells. This konjac is made out of this root vegetables. We consider that as type of potatoes, but it could be a yam. And the konjac imo, that vegetable is poisonous if you can actually eat it as it is. So konjac is this very dense jello type of stuff that does not absorb any flavor around them. We use them for miso soups. We cook them with the soy, mirin, that kind of stuff, as well as a lot of different applications. It has a distinct kind of smell to it. Once you take it out from package and drain the water, what you want to do is to put that in the colander or the strainer and pour boiling hot water on top of it. So that's the first step. So really popular way is to cut a few different ways so that it coats the flavor pretty well. First, a lot of people cut in strips like this, then cut the incision in the middle, like in the middle, then spin it. That, ta-da! This is called Musubi Konjac. It's really popular way to actually cut the konjac with. The other way is they cut in a little bit more like a cube size, then they do so-called Kakushi Bocho. Kakushi Bocho is this very traditional Japanese technique commonly used for something like konjac or more dense food like squid. What they will do is make like a Jabara cut, make various different diagonal cut like this, like really incision like this, and do it from the other way as well, so that you have this diamond shape. So that way it doesn't absorb the flavor but coats the flavor very, very well. Do this. Another popular way is actually use your fingers so that you get much more rougher surface to coat the flavors. So that's really the 3 common ways to cut the konjac or konjac, if you want to call it. Okay, next, shiso. Shiso is this Japanese herbs translated into English as perilla leaves, but I don't think if I say perilla leaves, not many people would understand what this is. We use them garnishes. It does add a little bit of fragrance and aroma, also a little bit of flavor. Really popular garnish for sashimis. As such, we could use them for some cooking applications like basil as well. I'm gonna actually show you how to, I guess, cut it. Well, this cutting technique is going to be very similar to its Western counterpart, which is chiffonading. I have these very nice leaves of shiso here. The best way is really to roll it, cut in half. Really the big difference probably is though, Japanese chiffonading doesn't require lots of rocking cuts. So what happens is that I just do straight. And I'm using the Usuba to do this. Make sure your fingers are tucked in so that you don't cut yourself. So that is called Sengiri. That is very basically basic knife skills in Japanese, and that meaning a 1,000 cut. So this one here, a sashimi grade coho salmon. It's farmed. It's got a skin on and stuff. So we defrost it. It's a pretty nice piece here. I'm going to show you how the Japanese people would prepare the salmon with a little bit of Western twist. Let's show you how to use the knife to cut this beautiful piece of salmon and make a beautiful dish, a salmon carpaccio. Carpaccio. So first of all, it has got the skin on the back, so I'm gonna skin them. Really the best knife to use for this type of work is Yanagiba. Yanagiba is this nice long Japanese slicing knife that is also a single bevel. Single bevel means it has the sharpened bevel on one side, the other side is pretty flat, and a little bit of concave on the back. This is really great way to slice things with. Also, a deba or the filleting fish with, this single bevel comes very, very, very handy. Okay, so a piece of fish right here, skin is on. What I'm going to do, oh, there's actually the section that I can make a little incision from. So have my knife in between the skin and the flesh here. I will hold onto the this skin with something that doesn't slip. Then as I pull the skin, I'm pulling the skin off and move the knife back and forth a little bit, up and down a little bit. Oops, I'm doing a little bit. So here, I wasted a little bit right here, which I'm gonna save them later. But see how I did. So the back will look like this. I missed this part, but this part is really nice. Only skin has been taken off. Okay, salmon. As you know, it's got a belly part and a shoulder part. I'm gonna cut in half like this. For the carpaccio, I want to make it a little bit more thinner slices than the traditional sashimi. Traditional sashimis are cut this and back about probably 2 to 3 millimeters thick. So I'm going to do this piece a so-called sogigiri. Sogu is really to peel things away. What I'm going to do is to have the knife on the side diagonal. My right hand is kind of guiding it, but not so much. I will not want to touch the knife with my left hand. I hold the knife on this occasion slightly different. I will put my index finger on the spine of this Yanagiba so that I can do a little bit nicer long slice cut. What I'm going to do is to have it like this and that, okay? So carpaccio reason, I'm gonna do it a little bit thin. And if you can cut it in one stroke, that would be the best. You don't want to sew it down. So from the heel to the tip, finish the cut with tip. There should be just one nice cut. So it should be cut from the heel to the tip with one stroke, and finish it off with the tip to separate the food. Yeah, I'm going to just plate up the salmon carpaccio. Something like you can do fancy is to roll up the some salmon pieces like this to make it like look like a flower, a rose. And I'm just finish plating the rest. So this is the salmon carpaccio that I'm making. Carpaccio traditionally is an Italian dish using the beef, right? Sear the beef and cut him very thin. This Italian chef in Japan took the idea and decided to make it so that it's likable among the Japanese people. So what they did is really simple, simple dish with salt and pepper, a little bit of lemon juice to finish, olive oil. And just finish a little bit of So here is the simple coho salmon carpaccio or carpaccio. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something today. If you want to learn more about knife skills, check out the videos here or there, and see you soon.